Hey there, movie buffs. Welcome back to Quinn's Movie Review Corner. Today we'll be talking about Mine. And when I saw this, I'm like, okay, Mine. Could it be It's Mine? Or there's a mine like a gold mine, or a mine as in like I stepped on a mine. It's I stepped on a mine. That's the movie. The synopsis is when the Marines mission goes awry. Tell me about it. He must survive behind enemy lines without stepping off a mine among the harsh elements of the desert war zone. That premise kind of reminds me of Ryan Reynolds' Buried, but this one didn't suck. So, if you haven't seen Buried, if you want to be disappointed after 2 hours, go ahead. He doesn't have any one-liners. It's a very, very, very dark movie, and there's no comedy at all from Ryan Reynolds. And there's no. Anyways, we're talking about Mine. So this guy's a sniper, and he doesn't want to snipe this guy. I'm thinking of Fortnite because I haven't played that in a couple days, but I snipe all the time. Anyways, he didn't want to snipe him because it was a wedding, and he couldn't really like the info wasn't exact. They said it was a black car. It's a greenish, bluish, something like that. Um, Things like that. So he puts his gun up, and one of the soldiers down there sees the reflection and starts shooting up at the mountain, and they take off, and it's just what it sounds like. This one guy was making fun. He was basically saying, I'm really afraid, because he saw a sign whipping around in the air, and it basically just had the normal skull and crossbones type of a thing, and it's in whatever language it is over there, and the skull and crossbones was definitely one of the is definitely universal. That's why they went away with the material safety data sheets, because not everybody can understand it, but they came up with the pictures. So, anyways, him and his spotter were walking around in the desert. They see the sign. He freaks out. Says, how many insurrections there were, how many, like that kind of a thing. There's like millions and millions of mines that were, that type of a thing. There was undiscovered, basically, and almost as soon as he started talking about that, the guy was making fun of him and stuff, and all of a sudden just gets blown away, get both his legs cut off at the like the normal wartime movie thing, and then the Marine steps forward and he hears a click. That sucks. That's the movie. The movie can start now. So he steps on the mine, his friend's screaming and crying, and he takes some medicine and that kind of a thing. He's like, I need the batteries, or I need your radio, that kind of thing, and then he just takes out his gun and shoots himself in the face. Some people can't live without their legs. Some people think they can't live without their legs, I should say. They can live, but psychologically they think they cannot live without their legs. So, then a sandstorm hits, and it is the coolest I don't like camera type of a thing, like the stance that he takes, the like the it's a really cool part. I'm hoping that I'm able to put it over this talking right now. So, um, Sandstorm comes, brings the radio to him. Cool. No batteries. Everything happens to this guy. So after his, uh, oh yeah, at the very beginning, before he steps on the thing, he finds a little tiny green soldier. But that's not really part of the movie. I mean, it is part of the movie, but it's not completely. It doesn't completely matter. So he puts it in his pocket, and he sees one of the locals, and the locals walking around weird, like turning around and turning this way and that kind of thing, and um, the local is just so funny. I laughed so hard at he just yeah, I don't know. It's so funny. Basically, what he's saying is you need to take the next step. I can't. I'm stepping out of mind. If I do that, I'll die. Probably. That kind of a thing. He's he's the comic relief that Barry needed. Anyway, so this little girl, you guess it's the local's daughter, gives him a drink. He's about to drink his own pee. Saved him just in time. He, I guess in the Middle East there's a lot of wolves. I didn't know that, but apparently there are because he's shooting all these different directions and stuff like that. And I'm thinking it's a hallucination because brought on by the desert and stuff. How people say mirages and stuff. Although this was at night, but anyways, he was out in the sun, out in the elements all day, and then in a sandstorm, and that's why the person can't, like the leader of the thing can't get them. He said he has to stay there for 52 hours. And he's like, "But I won't be around in 52 hours." And he goes, "Yeah, I know, but we'll find you either way." That's not what you want to hear. And then let me think. So the next day, the local is saying that he's a very lucky man for being alive in the desert overnight, and he starts hallucinating, which I'm guessing you would. So when he was talking to his commander, the commander said you can do the Schumann maneuver as a last resort, which is dig a trench behind you, big enough hole for your whole body to fit, and just fall back, or jump in, so that only your legs will be amputated, and the shock wave won't, go up and hurt every other organ and whatnot. So only your legs would be destroyed. But he does that in the hallucination, and because the wolves were back, he's shooting them, and one of the wolves gets blown up by one of the mines, which I think actually happened. Anyways, and then it flashes to he was fighting some army rangers in a bar. So the local, he's about to fall asleep, like completely fall over, and it's like slow motion where his foot's just coming off, and the local catches him and stops him from falling and potentially blowing himself up. He tends to his wounds and gives him some kind of mind-altering drug, and he hallucinates even more. Talk about how his dad was abusive, his mom, abused his mom, that kind of a thing, and him. His dad was a drunk. He ended up going to a bar where he beat up those four Army Rangers because they hit on his girl, Jenny, who was a waitress. Anyways. So then he's back in real life and he's waiting. I think it was like just at the 52-hour mark, and then he gets word that it's going to take 72 hours now instead of 52 hours. So he has to stay another 20 hours. So it's the next day, and he actually gets shot in the shoulder. Through and through. And he's like, what in the hell? And then he gets shot in the side or the stomach, and he starts shooting. He sees the people, like, sniping him from, a long way away. And he's shooting the ground, trying to get the mines to blow up, and some of them do, which creates a cover of sand, and then he's able to take him out, which is kind of crazy. He still has a sniper rifle, and he's able to take them out with that way. And so now, besides being dehydrated, sunburned, in the elements, he's shot twice. And just then, he hears the convoy coming to get him, coming to save him, and his flare is just out of reach because of the firefight. So instead of digging himself a trench and going, diving forward or something like that, no, he just steps off. And I'm like, are you serious? Right now you've waited this long? Maybe he thought, since they're right there, they'll hear it, and I'll be able to pull the thing on the flare, and they'll be able to help me and put my legs back together or something like that. But he steps off, nothing happens, and I'm like, oh my gosh, grab the flare and just turn it. No, he freaking has to dig down under the ground and dig it up. I'm like, why are you digging it up? But it ends up being a tin can, and inside is one little tiny one of those little army soldiers. So then I would say, from the time he steps off until the time he figures out that it's a soldier, was probably 10 minutes, literally 10 minutes. And then I'm like, are they still there? Pull out your flare, do something. And so he does, and then that's the end of the. Oh wait, no, he goes in. He was on his one knee, basically the whole movie, as you saw from pictures and stuff. Maybe you've seen the movie, but it's a really good movie. So at the end there, they see him. They see the flare, and the next thing you know, he's in the airport, and there's Jenny, his girlfriend, and he gets down on one knee, just like he got down on one knee for the whole entire movie, and it was a symbol, it was very symbolic and everything else like that. But it was a good movie. I liked it a lot. It was a lot better than Buried. I would say that. I was gonna say, when I bought Buried, I was saying Ryan Reynolds couldn't make a bad movie. He didn't make the movie bad. The movie was just bad. But that's my opinion. It was like $3 that I'll that I'll never get back. But that's all right. I enjoyed this movie, Mine, and I hope you enjoyed the review. Leave a like, comment, share. I don't know what I would do in that situation. Probably do the same as him, just try to survive. But at the very end, I would have like at least jumped or did the Schumann maneuver, not just stepped off. In my opinion, but what would you do? Tell me in the comments. All right.